This is the best game! Kyokyokyu Sentai Dadandarn is a 1993 arcade game published by Konami and filled to the brim with Konami references. The name translated is basically Ultimate Sentai Dadandarn, and in the United States it was called Monster Maulers. It's the first of a trilogy of games which are basically a series of boss fights with up to 2 players against 1 boss. The other 2 titles in the series, made by other developers of course, are Metamorchester and Red Earth, otherwise known as Warzard, a CPS-3 game from Capcom. One of the highlights of Ultimate Sentai Dadandarn is the music. It features some amazing tunes sung by Masato Shimon. Shimon sings on 2 of the tracks. However, the piece you're listening to right now is a performance of the ending music called We Are Dadandarn, sung by Hironobu Kageyama, the performer of Cha-La Head Cha-La and We Got Power for Dragon Ball. The premise is, the Earth faces its greatest threat yet. The Happy Droppers, who look suspiciously like the Yatamen villains Doranjo, Boyaki, and Tanzura, have unleashed a clutch of vile monster eggs upon the world. Only Ultimate Squad Dadandarn can defeat them. Go, our heroes! And now our players select. Ultimate Sentai Dadandarn includes 3 characters. The default is Katetsu, the most balanced character, and he's from Japan. To the left is Eagle, who does most of the heavy moves of the game. He's American in the American version of the game, and sports a lot of unique wrestling moves that you may recognize. However, we'll be starting with Anne. She's British, and she's the fastest character. And all 3 of them have kind of a thong thing going. Now, while all the bosses appear in a random order, you're able to select the first boss that you want to pick. There's Brainy, Moai, Fungus, Diablo, and Centaur. In this case, we'll start with the dragon from Norway, because I really want to show him off. So folks who have played Konami's Salamander games recognize the inspiration of this dragon as the intruder enemy. The dragon will change colors during the fight, each with a different elemental breath weapon. To start out with, we're fighting the red dragon, who has fire as his elemental breath weapon. So Ultimate Sentai Dadandarn is a 3-button game. There's light attacks, medium attacks, and strong attacks. Also, each character has 2 special moves that I'll get to in a bit. I'm showing off the basic attacks with Anne right now. And as you can tell there, that sound effect is stolen straight from Toho's Godzilla sound effects library. And next up we have the White Dragon, whose power is based on ice. So every character has a projectile attack. If you perform a quarter circle right to down move for Anne while Anne is jumping, she shoots out a fireball. It moves at 3 different angles depending on which of the attack buttons you hit. Next she has her ultimate attack, in which she hovers in the air and does blast to anything that gets near her. To activate it, you press a button repeatedly, like Blanca's electrical attack. And the best part of this game is you can suplex most every boss. Now I want to show you a couple other things about this boss. First off, every player who fights this boss has their own unique being iced animation. This is Eagle's, and this is Kotetsu's. Also, the dragon has a third form we didn't see before. The blue dragon uses lightning attacks, but in addition, it has a horny-on main attack. If you slam on a button while you're inside, it makes those woo-woo sounds inside of it. And here's the lightning attack. First is a sphere around its head, and the second is a breath weapon. And a little Easter egg in the background. You'll notice there's a happy Baphomet in the background right there. Very cute. Anyhow, the game has next selected the Moai head to fight. A fearsome god from a mysterious land. But before we fight the Moai head, there's a sub-boss called Spiderwort in America and Hydrante in Japan. It spits out little eyeless frogs called snakeheads and swings around trying to eat you. Alas, you cannot suplex it. Now, one of the tricks about this fight is you can totally cheese it with Anne's super attack. And there it all goes. Also, I love how beautifully rendered the backgrounds are. Now Anne falls into the Moai boss arena. So it wouldn't be a Konami game if we didn't have a Moai head in it. This again is a reference to the Moai heads of Gradius, shown in the corner of the screen. Unlike in Gradius though, this head has arms and a torso. And yes, you can suplex it. And just like in Gradius, it fires a ring attack from its mouth. If you recognize its stage music is actually a remix of the Gradius track, The Old Stone Age. It's best to jump over the rings. Now fortunately I've set the game to give me 2 lives for every play. Now you see there, she broke off his nose. I'll be showing you a little Easter egg about that later. And yes, you can chain suplexes if you time it right. And now the Moai head has turned red, just like the red Moai heads in Gradius. It's extra strong in this stage. And Anne's fireballs have taken care of it. Now you saw Anne knock his nose off, but you can actually knock its entire face off. And it'll do the rest of the battle just like that with no face. Next up is the Centaur in Iraq. Is it a god? A devil? A shadow lurks in the shrine. So the Centaur can attack you from both the front and the back. It has a shield that it can shoot out on a yo-yo like Rygar, and a projectile attack. If you do enough damage to it, it'll supercharge itself and move super fast while its main flashes. You have to watch out for projectiles during that phase. Most of the bosses can suplex you, too. Yeah, you can get stunned in this game too. And after you win, you get its shield. Next up is Diablo. Roaring Thunder, a demon who summons storms. So in Japan, this demon is known as Furaiki. You'll see his lightning powers in a bit. He also has a demon wheel attack. Now, when you die, this game is much more forgiving than Metamorchestra or Red Earth. You start immediately where you left off, and the boss doesn't get any health back, so you can just power through bosses on quarters alone. This time we're going to continue with Eagle. So his projectile attack is basically Blanca's roll. It's back, forward, and attack, and he fires at a different angle depending on which of the 3 attack buttons you press. And here's a little glitch I noticed when I started to walk towards him. He just walked away. And the pros eat Diablo. Next up is one of the more annoying bosses, Fungus, a terrifying sea and a strange life form. And here we have to wait for the boss to show up. The Fungus. And you can see Konami wanted him to be a morphing monster. Now Evo has a second move which is basically a series of punches, but it's a Shoryuken move to pull off, and I'm really bad at those, so I'll show you an example of when I got it off once later. In the background you can see a variety of sea life, and some interesting Easter eggs will show up in a bit. Yep, there's the Mola Mola. As with other bosses, it turns red when I want to do a super attack. So you block as you expect, just holding backwards. There's also a slide move you can do. And I absolutely hate that move that smacks you back and forth like that because there's no way to avoid it. It'll grab you even if you're blocking. And yes, there's also Vor. Now I want to show you the Shoryuken move that I was able to get off once. That was it. Second, I wanted to show you that you can actually stun bosses. And for this boss, if you hit him enough times, it'll expose the orb that created him. In any case, back to the main fight. So next up, we'll show off Kotetsu. Kotetsu is your average character, not too fast, not too slow. If you do a quarter circle move down the right while he's standing, he can do a fireball just like Ryo or Ken. The angle of the fireball depends on which of the 3 attack buttons you hit. And his special attack is a Psycho Crusher move. To do it, jump in the air, press back, forward, and then any attack button. Oh! Poor Kotetsu! Next up is Brainy in Kenya. Red Terror, a gleaming orb. So this stage starts out with a mid-boss as well. The Serpent. It's known as Mother in Japan, that fires off little spermy tadpoles. Ew. This boss in general is pretty gross. You can't suplex it, unfortunately. And there goes the Serpent. And now we fight the main boss. It's called Brainy in America, but it's known as the Brain Golem in Japan. It's based on the Brain Golem from the shooter Salamander. You'll notice that its stage music is a remix of the Salamander track, Poison of Snake. And let's switch back to Anne to finish off Brainy. Unfortunately with Anne, it's really too easy to set off her special attack, especially when you're trying to hit multiple attacks sequentially. Anne goes down, but all is not lost. There she is back again. The final battle to save Earth. And now we go after the Happy Droppers themselves. The music in this stage includes a track sung by Masato Shimon. It is the best song of this game. I'm actually going to cut the sound effects for this level so you can hear this song properly. It is so damn good. Here, enjoy. And now we fight the first of the Happy Droppers.
My name is Mr. G. 혼자 이기마스요.
So yes, Mr. Chin is obviously Boyaki from Yatterman. And he's piloting a ducker from Gradius, which you can see in the corner of the screen. This fight is a pain in the ass because his attacks are so relentless. Seriously, he barely gives you any openings. So now let's switch back to Kotetsu. this boss is so cheap even for that last sliver of health who takes out Kotetsu. So we're gonna do this right, with Anne. So next, the game continues as a brawler inside the Happy Droppers ship. You'll beat up more of those D-robots, but there's a couple new enemies added to this level. Next, Anne will encounter the spiders. These are small enemies that require low attacks to hit. They also have a laser, which is very painful. They can also crawl on the ceilings, you've got to be careful. And the second type of new enemy is the biker. And now we fight the second Happy Dropper. So he introduces himself as Garuga, but he's a clear analog for Tanzura from Yatterman. His mech is called Robo-Ape in America, but it's Mecha Gorilla in Japan. He has a rush attack and a lot of punching moves. And now we fight the leader of the Happy Droppers herself, Happy. She's a clear analog for Duranjo from Yatterman. and her mecha is called the Cosmic Tank, also called the Happy Buster Ace in Japan. It has 2 phases. The first is a floating hemisphere with 2 claws and a laser attack. Soon we'll send out Kotetsu next. And now we go into the second phase of her attack. She starts out by trying to whip you. Kinky. Next, she drops a ton of bombs that try to home in on you. And Kotetsu has beaten her. Congratulations! However, there are in fact 2 endings to this game, and because we had to continue a game, we're gonna get the good one, but not the great one. Here's the good ending. I'll put a link to the best ending below. Thank you for watching Ultimate Sentai Dadandarn, available at your favorite MAME locations. Enjoy!